going, everyone? You got your boy Corey here, aka Crasher, bringing you guys a new and exciting video. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our next installment of our Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive guides. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the legendary Pokemon Zacian and how you can use Zacian in competitive play. So with that being said, hit the thumbs up if you enjoy the video, smash the sub button if you want to see more content like this, and smash up in the comments down below because I love hearing from you guys. With that being said, let's get started. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so Zacian has two forms. The first form here is its uncrowned form. So as you can see it right here, it is going to be having that of a pure fairy typing. And with it comes an awesome immunity to the dragon typing, and you also resist the likes of bug, dark, and fighting. However, ladies and gentlemen, bear in mind that you have a weakness to poison and steel. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking a look at its ability known as Intrepid Sword. Now, this ability allows for you, upon switching in, to gain a +1 boost in your attack stat, which is absolutely amazing. And speaking of amazing, ladies and gentlemen, fast forward to its stat distribution. So it has 92 on the HP, 130 on the attack, 115 in both of the defense and special defense, 80 on the special attack, and 138 on the speed. Now on to its crowned form, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right. It has its crowned form, which is miles better than its regular form. As you can see right here, it has the now fairy and steel type combination, and we take a look at the fact that it's now immune to two types, that being the dragon and poison, which funny enough was originally one of its weaknesses. You also have a strong resist to the likes of bug, and you resist the likes of dark, fairy, flying, grass, ice, normal, psychic, and rock, only making you weak to the likes of fairy and ground. Oh man, that is absolutely crazy. And then we take a look at its ability, Intrepid Sword. As I said previously, it is an ability that allows for you to gain a +1 boost in your attack upon switching in. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at its stats, new and improved in its crown form, baby. Woo! So, the HP and the defenses and special attack haven't changed at all, but take a look at its attack and speed. Attack is now juiced up to base 170, and the speed is now juiced up to base 148. Oh my god. So a little bit of on-the-spot advice, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to be using Zacian at all in competitive play, just go with the crown form. You're doing yourself a big-time favor by going for its crown form. I mean, its most dominating stat is its base 170 attack. Like, get out of here. Like, that is just absolutely ridiculous. And not to mention also, base 148 speed. Like, this is the fastest Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield. That is just absolutely crazy. And not to mention also, with it having decent defenses, both at base 115 apiece and 92 on the HP, coupled with its fairy and steel typing, yeah, that thing's got a lot of good natural bulk backing it up, giving it a lot of opportunities to switch in and bring the pain like it's never been brought before, baby. So now, ladies and gentlemen, with all of that being said, let's now go on to Pokemon Showdown and take a look at how you can use Zacian from a competitive standpoint. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so first things first, we are going to be taking an all-out offensive approach. In fact, this would be the best approach to take when it comes to using Zacian. So the item of choice is going to be exclusively to Zacian only, known as Rusted Sword. Now, if it's held by Zacian, this item changes it to its crowned form. So, in order for you to achieve this form, ladies and gentlemen, you have to take up the item slot with Rusted Sword. So this right here is what prevents this Pokemon from being insanely broken, because if this was a form just because, and you could use something like a Choice Band or a Life Orb, then yeah, we're gonna have some big problems up in this. So coming up next, we are going to be looking at its ability. Well, its only ability it's got access to is known as Intrepid Sword, which is by no means a very bad ability because it's actually on the opposite side of the spectrum. So with that being said, first move that we got is known as Substitute here. Now, because of the fact that this Pokemon is very threatening and very potent in battle, expect to see a lot of switches take place when Zacian is on the field. So, Given that opportunity, if you can predict a switch, then you can go for Substitute, which puts you behind a protective barrier. And also, ladies and gentlemen, a fun fact, it also blocks Imposter Ditto from copying Zacian and using it as a threat against you. So that is something to keep in mind. It does take away 25% of your health, but that right there is a pretty nifty price to pay for the benefits that Substitute does give you. So coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be utilizing Fire Fang here, which is a decent base 65 power fire type move with both a 10% chance to burn and a 10% chance to flinch. This is a great way to break through steel types like Ferrothorn and Corviknight. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Psychic Fangs. Now, this move is specifically for the likes of Eternatus and Toxapex. And then last but not least, guys, if we want to have Stab, then we have ourselves Play Rough, which is going to play off its Fairy Stab, and it will allow for you to have a stronger option against Dragon-type Pokemon, as well as Dark and Fighting as well. And then, last but not least, guys, taking a look at the stats and the nature, we're going to be going with an Adamant nature, and here's why, ladies and gentlemen. Take note of its 395 speed, okay? And that's coming from a neutral base speed stat of 148. Just know that even with an Adamant nature, you are able to outspeed Eternatus, even with it having a timid nature. Its max speed would be 394, but with you having 395 on the Adamant nature, then that right there is going to make you 1 speed point faster. So essentially, you're still going to be insanely fast, being able to outpace other threats in the Uber's metagame, like Eternatus. So, as for the investment itself, we're just gonna be maxing out the attack and the speed, because why the hell not, you know? Look at that beautiful 482 attack stat, man. That is just ridiculous, and even without any of its defenses and HP being invested in, you can see that it has really respectable natural bulk. Now, with that being said, do keep in mind that these sets are very much interchangeable, as it does have a fairly wide move pool to make use of. So this is just one way that you can run Zacian. And then another way you can run Zacian, which is my personal favorite, would be Swords Dance and 3 attacks. Now, as for the item of choice, it should kind of go without saying that Rusted Sword is going to be forcefully your item of choice, and along with Intrepid Sword is going to be its only ability of choice. So we got Swords Dance here, ladies and gentlemen, as if this Pokemon wasn't already busted enough with Intrepid Sword boosting its attack stat by 1 stage initially upon switching in. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, you can boost your attack stat even higher with Swords Dance boosting it by 2 stages. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Effectively, in 1 single turn, you will have a +3 boost in your attack stat. Oh my god, that is crazy, guys. So coming up next, we have ourselves its signature move known as Behemoth Blade, which is a very respectable base 100 power steel type move that will double the damage against Pokemon that are Dynamax or Gigantamax, making it just that much more ungodly powerful, man. That is absolutely ridiculous. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Close Combat, because it's a really nice base 120 fighting type move to use. However, do keep in mind that it will lower your defense and special defense by 1 stage, but given the fact that this Pokemon is a speed demon in its own right, you're not exactly going to have to really worry about drops in your defenses, because you're just going to be sniping out everything, especially with your attack stats being buffed up. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves Crunch. This is so you are not completely walled out by the likes of Aegislash, because Aegislash is very much problematic, and Crunch is a base 80 Dark-type move with a 20% chance to lower the opponent's defense by 1 stage, and given the fact that Aegislash is weak to Crunch, it's definitely in your best interest to be packing Crunch. Not to mention also, it will do neutral damage to the likes of Ferrothorn as well as Corviknight and Toxapex as well, but special mention to Ferrothorn, well, that's why we got Close Combat, boys! So, with that being said, now let's move on to its stats and its nature. In this situation, ladies and gentlemen, given how we don't have any way of boosting our speed stat, we are going to be running a Jolly Nature, and just look at those beautiful numbers. 434 speed, That is ridiculous right there, man. So anyways, we have ourselves max investment on the attack and max investment on the speed. So not only do we have as much natural speed as possible, but even without an adamant nature to boost your attack stat a little bit, 439 attack points is beyond ridiculous, and backed up with Intrepid Sword boosting your attack, backed up with Swords Dance boosting your attack even more, that's just going to be absolutely crazy, you know? Now, the reason why we're going for a Jolly Nature is so that way you can, at minimum, speed tie with opposing Zacian that choose to go for a Jolly Nature. And not to mention also, it's just really, really awesome to have such a crazy speed stat like that. So why not make the most use of it and make it have a Jolly Nature? You know what I'm saying, baby? So last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have ourselves some moves to make note of when it comes to Zacian. The first of which is known as Agility, which raises the user's speed by 2 stages. This isn't a bad move to consider if you think about it, ladies and gentlemen, because get this. In one single turn, you have a boost from your attack stat with Intrepid Sword, and you can simply stat up by boosting your speed with Agility by 2 stages. And if you were to do something like that, then I would suggest running maybe an Adamant Nature, so go for an investment like this. So 482 attack points, and you multiply that with the boost from Intrepid Sword, you are going to be having a respectably high attack stat, and with 1 agility boost, you have almost 800 speed points just from one single turn. That means that pretty much any Choice Scarf Pokemon is just going to be absolutely null and void at that point after one single agility boost. So that's just speaking from agility there, friends. Coming up next, we have ourselves it having access to Ice Fang, which is a really good Ice-type attack, base 65 power, with a 10% chance to freeze and or flinch the opponent. We also have ourselves Sacred Sword here, ladies and gentlemen, which, while it may not be as powerful as Close Combat per se, it is base 90 power, and there is no drawbacks. In fact, it has an added benefit to it, that being the fact that it ignores the target's stat stage changes. So you could go up against an opponent that is trying to set up defensively on you, while Sacred Sword is just going to cut right through that baloney, you know what I mean? And last but not least, guys, another move to make note of would be the likes of Wild Charge here. Now, Wild Charge is a pretty decent power move with base 90. It's electric type. However, do bear in mind that it does have a 25% recoil, so 25% of the damage you inflict against your opponent is going to come back at you in recoil damage. Actually, ladies and gents, hold that thought, because your boy just happened to have thought of a set idea right off the top of his head, so bear with me here, okay? So, once again, should kind of go without saying that the item's Rusted Sword is going to be your only item of choice, and Intrepid Sword is going to be your only ability of choice. Now, I'm pulling a ROM here, so shout out to ROM if you're watching. I'm pulling a Rest-Sleep Talk combination here. So we have ourselves Rest, which will put you to sleep for 2 turns. However, it will restore your HP and status 100% fully. Next up, guys, we have Sleep Talk here. Now, you must be asleep in order to effectively utilize Sleep Talk, and this will allow for you at random to utilize one of your other moves. Now, unfortunately, you don't have the option to choose what move it'll use. It's just going to do that for you. So you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit here. You know what I mean? So anyways, next up here, we have ourselves Play Rough, which is a really good stab of choice. It's fairy type, it's strong, it's good, it's base 90 power, however, note the 90% accuracy, so it does have a slight tendency to miss at times. However, it does lower the opponent's attack stat by 1 stage, 10% of the time. And to go really well with Fairy Stab, we have ourselves a Dark-type move known as Crunch. So this will allow for you to not be completely walled by Steel-type Pokemon. However, if you are specifically worried about Steel-type Pokemon, then you could very much go for something like Fire Fang if you really, really want. In fact, like that right there, now that I'm thinking about it, would probably be a better recommendation in my opinion. So now moving on to the stats, we are going to be going with an adamant nature here because since we're not boosting up in any way, shape, and form outside of our boost that we get initially from Intrepid Sword, we are definitely going to be needing as much raw power as possible. So we have ourselves an adamant nature with 252 EVs on the attack and 252 into the speed. Now, once again, bear in mind, you're rocking 395 speed points, so that means that you're going to be able to outspeed even Eternatus here, as I mentioned before. So running an adamant nature isn't exactly a bad idea as well, but this right here is just something that I thought I would share with you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Okay. I was going to end the video off right here, but I do need to point something out. Now, hold the phone, ladies and gentlemen. You guys, I know you're seeing what's on the screen right now. You guys are probably thinking, Crasher, what on earth are you thinking? I mean, Crown Zacian is the way to be, and for all intents and purposes, yes, it is. However, let me explain myself, friends, because using regular Zacian might not be a bad idea if you especially take this into consideration. So, given the fact that we no longer are forced to hold Rusted Sword when we are in our crown form here, we have ourselves the freedom to have any item that we want in battle. So in this situation here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go with the likes of Choice Band, which is going to lock you in to the first move that you utilize until you switch out. However, it will boost your attack stat by 1 stage, and when you pair that with Intrepid Sword, you're going to have essentially a +2 attack boost to work with from the get-go. Might not be such a bad thing to consider after all, you know what I mean? So anyways, the first move that we got going on here is known as Play Rough because you need to have your obligatory stab. Not to mention also, it counters likes of dragons as well as dark and fighting type Pokemon. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Fire Fang here, so that way you have some form of protection against your steel type weaknesses, such as the likes of Ferrothorn, Aegislash, Corviknight, just to name a few. Next up, guys, we have ourselves Psychic Fangs. Now, this is specifically to target the likes of Eternatus and Toxapex, because those are very big threats in battle. And lastly, we have ourselves Facade, which is an interesting option, but do keep this in mind. While it may be initially base 70 power with the normal typing, it does double in power to base 140 if you suffer from the likes of Burn, Poison, or the Paralysis status condition. And if you also factor in the fact that you are Choice Band and Intrepid Sword boosted, and you happen to also be statused, this right here is going to punish the likes of unaware walls like Quagsire and even Clefable. So maybe it might be something to consider, but if not, then you could go for something like Crunch if you're not worried. So that way you can also have another way to take care of the likes of Aegislash. Now, as for the Eevee Spread, we're going to be going with a Jolly Nature here. So that way, ladies and gentlemen, we have as much speed as possible. And with 412 speed points coming off a base 138 speed with max investment with a Jolly Nature, you're going to be hitting a relatively high and respectable speed number. I mean, that's really nothing to scoff at here, you know what I mean? So anyways, as for the EV investment, we're going to be investing 252 EVs into the attack, 252 EVs into the speed, and 4 into special defense. You pretty much always want to make this thing as offensively capable as possible. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that's going to be a wrap up here for this competitive guide on how to use Zacian. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, leave a like, subscribe, and smash up in the comments down below because I love hearing from you guys. Always have, always will, that ain't never gonna change, baby. Woo! So thank you guys so very much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day or night, depending on your time zone, and I'll see you guys in the next one.